George Christensen, welcome to the virtual couch.
G'day, Chris. Thanks very much.
I'll get to why you've decided not to stand at the next election in just a moment, after you've had time to think about it over 3 months. But you gave the LNP a few home truths this week. There's a conference on this weekend in Brisbane. What's wrong? What's so dysfunctional with the LNP in Queensland at the moment?
Well, Chris, I've been a member of the LNP and its predecessor National Party, Queensland Nationals, for the better part of 3 decades now. Joined when I was very young, and there's one thing that the Queensland Nats prided itself on, and that was being just this grassroots democratic party.
Yeah.
And I can tell you today that the LNP is anything but. It's controlled by this top-down dictatorial President's Committee, and unfortunately, something changed after the merger between the Nationals and the Liberals, and I think it was all to do with stopping potential critics who wanted to demerge, right? And so any criticism just became absolutely anathema. They had to be suspended or expelled from the party or silenced somehow. And that sort of culture has just led to this complete and utter divide between those at the very top, the people we call the hierarchy or head office, and those of us who are out there doing the grunt work, handing out how to vote cards on polling booths, who joined the party for a reason, because we believe in a cause and we want to see the nation better. And those people, I've got to say, haven't been listened to much of late.
This is the same kind of trend that we've pointed out time and time again in reference to the New South Wales Liberal Party. Do you think this could be an overarching attempt to get rid of true conservatives from conservative parties?
There's a bit of that in there, because unfortunately I've had person after person that's reported to me being knocked back by this hierarchy in terms of their wanting to become members, people who've been suspended, and there's a recurring pattern. They all seem to be rock-solid social conservatives. And, it is a bit of a scary thing that this is happening, but it's also interesting in that these people were once let into the party, and it was great news while they were out there wanting to man booths on polling day or door knock or whatever, but once they started seeking positions within the party, it became a problem, and so now they're not accepting them.
So let's talk about your resignation, the fact that you won't stand at the next election. Is it purely to spend time with family? Is it something to do with the way you've been treated? Are you burnt after being, soiled by Malcolm Turnbull in his book? Are you just fed up with the process?
Look, a little bit of everything of what you've said may be true, but I don't want to put too much emphasis on the last one. I guess that you get up and you don't go into politics if you don't want to take the knocks, because particularly if you're LNP, you're going to get Labor attacking you, you're going to get the unions attacking you, you're going to get all the little left-wing minions out there attacking you, Get Up and the like. You're going to get every group that's on the taxpayer teat that's aligned to the Labor Party attacking you. You don't get up out of bed in the morning in politics if you don't want to be attacked, right? If you put your head above the parapets, though, too much as a backbencher in particular, you're going to get potshots from the left-wing media, and I've had a fair few of them, some of them enabled by people you just spoke about earlier. But, mate, you do it all for a cause. And the cause for me is rock-solid conservatism, also with a deep stream of libertarianism mixed in it, because I believe in the rights of the individual, free speech. I believe in freedom overall. And the problem that I'm seeing within politics is that we are always on the backward step. And that's despite having Scott Morrison there, who is a Christian, is a conservative, And I think that it's more to do with the culture than actual with the body politic. Politics is downstream of culture, and so I think that there's something to be said about that. So perhaps if I'm going to continue on being a political agitator or activist, it's doing something in that culture war realm. I hate to use that term because it's now a pejorative term, but that's probably where it lies.
So what position is that? What form of government is that? What's your next step? You want to make a difference. What's that step, though?
Well, I think that it's about changing the culture. I mean, look at what's happening at the moment with all of these pandemic restrictions, which really are an attack on freedom. You've got people out there cheering on the removal of freedoms that men and women have died for this country. And I think that is just so sad. I can sort of understand to a degree why politicians are marching down this road, but because they're getting cheered on by the public for it. They're getting rewarded, as Palaszczuk got rewarded, as McGowan got rewarded, as the polls seem to indicate Dan Andrews is going to be rewarded. And it's really almost incredible to see that. But there needs to be some form of pushback, of almost education. Again, another term I hate to use, but another side needs to be told here, and it's not really being told through the mainstream press, apart from good people like yourself and other Sky News commentators, Chris. So I probably want to be part of that, because we're never ever going to change the politics unless we change the culture.
Yeah. You've teamed up with Reignite Democracy Australia, calling for no vaccine passports, which follows the argument you've just posed to us. And this petition is running at the moment up to 300,000 signatures. Here's part of what we've seen on Facebook, with you included.
Well, I'm against it because really this is just another restriction on our freedoms. And quite honestly, nobody, no government official, no corporation has the right to know our private medical history. There have been worse viruses than COVID-19 before, but we've never had some vaccine passport to enable us to go and undertake some particular service, or jump on a plane, or to go into a restaurant or cafe, and I don't want to see it in my country.
This has really made you angry, hasn't it? The way we've been forced to do as we're told, and how the democracy that we once cherished is something that we've put aside for the time being almost.
And I'm angry about it. I'm sad about it. I'm frustrated about it. I've got to tell you, it's a big reason that I won't be contesting the next election. I'm just bewildered that we have willingly surrendered freedoms, even from the just wearing masks on aeroplanes and in airports. I mean, it's always just something, Chris. It's just a mask. Oh, it's just a few days lockdown. It's just this, it's just that. At the end of the day, it could just be what tips someone over the edge. It could just be what causes a business to collapse. It could just be what caused someone to lose their job. It could just be what causes someone to take their own life, because
it's exactly
their life
what's
savings
happening.
have gone up in smoke.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening.
It is exactly what's happening, mate. And more than that, how long are these restrictions going to continue for? I just saw figures out of Israel that showed that the virus is still spreading, that the majority of people in that country are vaccinated, something like 80%. Have received double vaccinations or full vaccinations. And yet the figures for new cases show that 80% of cases are with fully vaccinated people. So given what's going on today, where, I've got a bloke who's in critical condition after a car accident in the Mackay Base Hospital, whose sister from Victoria can't get to sit with him at his bedside. No. She's going to wait 2 weeks in quarantine at the moment. She's fully vaccinated, right? Fully vaccinated. Can't get in. So we've got these stupid rules that exist now. What is going to change down the track? What's going to change down the track when we are at peak vaccination levels and yet the cases continue on. Is there still going to be the spread of fear from the fake news mainstream media? Are we still going to have opportunistic politicians listening to these little Hitlers in the health bureaucracy saying, oh, we've got to have zero risk, Premier, we've got to keep the borders shut, we've got to put the city into lockdown, we've got to keep them wearing masks, we've got to keep them on this tracing and tracking system? How long is that sort of stuff going to continue? I fear it could be with us forever if we don't push back.
Yeah, you might be right. I want to talk about aspects of your life that many of your supporters may not even know. Let's rewind the tape. Is it true that when you were 21, your father talked you out of becoming a priest?
Yeah, that was quite a heated moment, actually, as it always is between young men and their father. And there was a bit of estrangement there for a while, which thankfully is, was done away with fairly quickly, actually. Within a year, that was sort of gotten round to, and me and my dad are really good mates now. And look, thanks to him for talking me out of it, or I wouldn't be here talking to you now and doing what I could have done for the people of Australia.
Now, you're from multi-generational cane farming families. Your ancestry, though, is Danish. Have you gone back to look at your roots and work out whether you were part of the Vikings?
Yeah, well, we were, and the first ones that actually gave up the old gods and took on the new ones. That's why the name's Christensen, son of the Christian. So it's a common name over in Denmark. But actually, I've retained the Danish heritage in the surname, but I'm actually 3/4 Irish, believe it or not. My mother's maiden name's O'Brien, and my father's mother's maiden name's Dalton. So there you go. A lot of Irish in this blood, mate, which probably explains a few things, why I identify as a blue-collar conservative.
Correct. One last question. How's married life going? You were married on 2 years ago, April. How's it changed your life? It certainly may have played a role in you getting out of federal politics.
Yeah, look, certainly, and more to the point, my now 1-year-old daughter, Margaret Ann, spending time with her is just absolutely fantastic, and I'm loving that. I'm loving spending time with my wife and my daughter. It really changes the perspective having a little one in your life.
I'm sure it does, as many of us know, and good luck with everything, and I'm sure you'll be back in the cut and thrust of federal politics at one stage down the track. All the very best, George.
Thank you very much, Chris.